Genesis chapter 41. Genesis 41 and verse 1. Genesis 41 and 1. When 2 full years had passed, Pharaoh had a dream. He was standing by the Nile, when out of the river there came up 7 cows, sleek and fat, and they grazed among the reeds. After them 7 other cows, ugly and gaunt, came up out of the Nile and stood beside those on the river bank. And the cows that were ugly and gaunt ate up the 7 sleek and fat cows. Then Pharaoh woke up. He fell asleep again and had a second dream. 7 heads of grain, healthy and good, were growing on a single stalk. After them 7 other heads of grain sprouted, thin and scorched by the east wind. The thin heads of grain swallowed up the 7 healthy full heads. Then Pharaoh woke up. It had been a dream. In the morning his mind was troubled, so he sent for all the magicians and wise men of Egypt. Pharaoh told them his dreams, but no one could interpret them for him. Then the chief cupbearer said to Pharaoh, "Today I'm reminded of my shortcomings. Pharaoh was once angry with his servant, and he imprisoned me and the chief baker in the house of the captain of the guard. Each of us had a dream the same night, and each dream had a meaning of its own. Now a young Hebrew was there with us, a servant of the captain of the guard. We told him our dreams, and he interpreted them for us, giving each man the interpretation of his dream. And the things turned out exactly as he interpreted them to us. I was restored to my position, and the other man was hanged." So Pharaoh sent for Joseph, and he was quickly brought from the dungeon. When he had shaved and changed his clothes, he came before Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I had a dream, and no one can interpret it. But I have heard it said of you, what when you hear a dream you can interpret it." "I cannot do it," Joseph replied to Pharaoh, "but God will give Pharaoh the answer he desires." Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "In my dream I was standing on the bank of the Nile, when out of the river there came up 7 cows, fat and sleek, and they grazed among the reeds. After them 7 other cows came up, scrawny and very ugly and lean. I had never seen such ugly cows in all the land of Egypt. The lean, ugly cows ate up the 7 fat cows that came up first. But even after they ate them, no one could tell that they had done so. They looked just as ugly as before." Then I woke up. In my dreams I also saw 7 heads of grain, full and good, growing on a single stalk. After them 7 other heads sprouted, withered and thin and scorched by the east wind. The thin heads of grain swallowed up the 7 good heads. I told this to the magicians, but no one could explain it to me." Then Joseph said to Pharaoh, "The dreams of Pharaoh are one and the same. God has revealed to Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good cows are 7 years, and the 7 good heads of grain are 7 years. It is one and the same dream. The 7 lean, ugly cows that came up afterwards are 7 years, and so are the 7 worthless heads of grain scorched by the east wind. They are 7 years of famine. It is just as I said to Pharaoh. God has shown to Pharaoh what he is about to do. 7 years of great abundance are coming throughout the land of Egypt, but 7 years of famine will follow them." Then all the abundance in Egypt will be forgotten, and the famine will ravage the land. The abundance in the land will not be remembered, because the famine that follows it will be so severe. The reason the dream was given to Pharaoh in two forms is that the matter has been firmly decided by God, and God will do it soon. And now let Pharaoh look for a discerning and wise man and put him in charge of the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh appoint commissioners over the land to take a fifth of the harvest of Egypt during the 7 years of abundance. They should collect all the food of these good years that are coming and store up the grain under the authority of Pharaoh to be kept in the cities for food. This food should be held in reserve for the country to be used during the 7 years of famine will come upon Egypt, so that the country may not be ruined by the famine. The plan seemed good to Pharaoh and to all his officials. So Pharaoh asked them, "Can we find anyone like this man? One in whom the Spirit of God, in whom is the Spirit of God?" Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Since God had made all this known to you, there is no one so discerning and wise as you. You shall be in charge of my palace, and all my people are to submit to your orders. Only with respect to the throne will I be greater than you." So Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I hereby put you in charge of the whole land of Egypt." Then Pharaoh took his signet ring from his finger and put it on Joseph's finger. He dressed him in robes and fine linen and put a gold chain around his neck. He had him ride in a chariot as he is second in command, and men shouted before him, "Make way!" Thus he put him in charge of the whole land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I am Pharaoh, but without your word no one will lift a hand or foot in all Egypt." Pharaoh gave Joseph the name Zaphenath-Paneah, and gave him Asenath, daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, to be his wife. And Joseph went throughout the land of Egypt. Joseph is a person that is very important in the Old Testament, and not just the Old Testament, but the whole story of the people of Israel. It was the 11th child of Israel, Jacob, that is. And the important thing that he had was that the Lord was always with him. Why? Because Joseph was always with the Lord. And of course, his brothers and sisters were not the same. His brothers and sisters had not a good fame, and that is why his father loved him especially, and gave him these nice garments that we know that he was wearing. And one day Joseph revealed to his father the bad fame that his brothers and sisters had. And from that moment onwards, they hated him, a great hatred indeed. And that wasn't enough. But he also saw two dreams. The first dream was that he was wearing a garment, or one of his own, and one for each of the brothers. And the other was that he saw the heavens and the skies and the moon, and they bowed down to Joseph. And his father kept these words, but he was also content. And from that moment onwards, the plan of God starts. And the end goal is for complete blessing. And that is amazing, isn't it? the great blessing of Joseph. And everything is possible to God, and also everything is possible to the one who believes in God, the one who trusts in God, the one who is with God throughout his life, and he walks according to his will in the presence of God. And all of a sudden, Israel sends Joseph, who was tending to the sheep. He was 70 years of age, and he said, "Go and see what your brothers are doing." He did. He couldn't find them, but he eventually did. And his brothers gave out from their own hearts what they had, and that was hatred, maleficency, wickedness. And they casted it out of their own hearts. The result was that they have decided to kill him. But Reuben, by God, said that we will not do that, but he will be brought back to his father. And they casted him in a pit, and they took his garments away. They slaughtered an animal and they filled it with blood, and they said that we will come back and we will say that because there was no water there and they were sure that he would die, we will come back to our father and say that he died. Here are the garments. But Reuben wanted to save him, to spare him, but he was driven away, and the result was that some Ishmaelites came by, and they placed it in their hearts to win some money out of Joseph, and said, "Let us sell him away." And they did so. They paid 20 silver coins for him. They got 20 silver coins. And now, through all these issues, we will see the will of God. Because the Ishmaelites gave him away to the master of the Egyptians, someone who was special, but God was with him, was with Joseph, and anything that he has done, the Lord blessed. Amazing, isn't it? For God to be with you. Lord, please make us just like that. But for God to be with us, you need to be with God as well. What does that mean? It means that you walk accordingly to his footsteps. I'm not fighting back, but I'm following the will of God, not my own, but I am subdued to the voice of the Lord. And the Lord was always with him. And anything that he has done, the Lord blessed. And that is how he remained many years in Egypt. And he learned to take care of the finances of the palace. But that wasn't just the plan of God. Because the plan of God has a good continuation. Because things seem to be very bad for Joseph, but they are very good instead. Because he will be led to the absolute blessing that is the will of God. And the wife of Pharaoh, because he was good in appearance, liked him rather, and she accused him that he came after her. And now his master condemned him to the imprisonment, and he was led to the chief prison master, and he was cast into the deepest parts of the prison. Imagine now, the best child of Jacob, a servant in Egypt. He learned how to deal with the finances of the palace, and of his house, and now he's in prison. Not because he was in sin, but because he didn't. And there the master, the chief prison master placed him in the deepest of the dungeons, because Joseph had to learn some specific things, and that is to deal with the finances, but also to deal with people, and that happened in the house of Potiphar and in the deepest of dungeons. But as he was 28 years of age, two people came in prison. People that were accused by the palace, the chief of the wine and the chief of the bread, and they saw two dreams. One saw that he had in his head breads in his head, and the birds came out and ate them. And the wine master saw that he had a wine in his hand, and he was filling up the cup of Pharaoh. And they spoke out and said, confirmed the dreams, and Joseph confirmed that you will be killed, but you will be brought back to your previous place. And now, the wine master, he said to the wine master, when you come out and you go to Pharaoh, remember me, because I am here for no reason. But 2 years went by, and the wine master forgotten about him. And now we enter to what exactly the Lord wants to do. And that is what? To bless Joseph with a blessing that no one could understand, no one could predict. And that is to be second in charge in the whole of Egypt and a master of all the land. But can these things happen? How can that be the case for Joseph, the servant of someone rather who's imprisoned? That is why it is very important for us to understand. Do not look at what is happening to you today. You may see it difficult. You may think that things are not going as you have planned, but you need to stay faithful to God, because God has great things to do. Just remain faithful. Remain faithful to where God has placed you. Immovable. Because issues are going to come. Temptations and sorrows are going to come. But you need to remain. And all of a sudden, as he was 30 years of age, they called him, they dressed him up, and they say, come, because Pharaoh needs you to interpret a dream for him. Now imagine his amazement. I couldn't say his anxiety, because he probably know that God is with him. Do you know that God is with you? If you know, do not be afraid. If you are certain that this is the case, do not be afraid. And how can he be sure that this is the case? The certainty, my certainty, comes from the fact that I am walking in the path, in the footsteps of Christ. I am doing what Christ wants me to do in his presence. I'm not turning to the left or to the right. I'm not allowing my mind to think or to be boasting and say to myself that I am doing things very well. But I am the least of all the brothers, the least of all the saints, the least of all the apostles, as Apostle Paul. I'm nothing. I'm worthless, less than zero. That is why my hope is only Christ and Christ alone. I have no other hope. I'm not waiting for help from anyone else. But this is a great affliction that I'm going through, aren't I? Because 17 and up until 30, for 13 years he was moved from left to right. He was away from home. But in that situation, God was with him. because he was with God. And he was able to see it. He was sure of it. How was he sure of it? Anything that he was doing, God was blessing. No matter where he went, God was introducing him, was praising him, revealing him. He was sure that God was with him. But there's nothing that I am doing and God is not blessing. Nothing bad will happen to you, says God. When I see people throwing me in the pit of the lion, speaking badly against me, accuse me, and even sell me away, God was with them. Brothers and sisters, God was with them. It is very important, isn't it, for us to know with certainty, not just think, that God is with me. And I will know that this is the case when in any situation that I am brought in, God will bless me. God will be with me no matter what I do. Do you understand what that means? It means that they will sell me away, but God will restore me. His wife will accuse me, people will accuse me, but God will bless me. It means that he will train me also. Because any affliction that God allows is for your edification, for you to bring fruition, and because he loves you dearly, and because you love him as well. And he will be with you. No matter what I do, will God bless? No matter what I pray for or think about, God will hear. Anywhere I go or people send me away to, God will bless me and lift me up. And all of a sudden, Joseph said, I'm brought into Pharaoh, in front of Pharaoh. Shaved, washed. What happened? And he hears with amazement what Pharaoh has to say. I saw 2 dreams. I called all my magicians and enchanters to explain them to me, but no one could. But the wine master came and said that you are able to interpret dreams. Now we can see who Joseph truly is. And he says, not me, Lord, not me, Pharaoh. I'm not able to explain anything by my own power. I am worthless. Not me. But the Lord will give to Pharaoh the wise reply, the explanation of the dreams. Not me, God. And he explains the dreams and what they are. Very important. Things that cannot be explained. 7 cows coming out of the river fat and good, and 7 ugly and lean come out right after them, and they eat them away. And he sleeps again, and he sees 7 heads of grains, and he sees 7 grains coming out, 7 batches, let's say, of grains, good. And he then sees 7 heads of worthless grain, and they eat them away, the good ones. Who can explain these things? And the answer is only God. The one who revealed to you these things is the one who will give you the explanation. And learn that what God is revealing to you is that 7 years of abundance are coming ahead. 7 years of abundance of food are coming ahead, and right after them, 7 years of famine. And why is God showing to you these things? Because you need to know what you need to do. Why is God revealing to us certain things? So that we may know what we need to do, so that we may be able to enjoy the presence of God and the blessing of God in our lives. Learn, therefore, that these 7 cows are 7 years of good soil and abundance, but the 7 ugly cows and the 7 worthless grains are 7 years of famine. And what are we supposed to do now? This is the critical point. What are we supposed to do now? I've reached this point. I went through my brothers, I went through Egypt, and I went through imprisonment, and I went through all these issues. And I expressed and explained all these things. But what am I supposed to answer to Pharaoh now? What can I speak and say to him now? What am I supposed to say now? Because from what I'm about to say, my future is held upon, is based upon. Be careful, therefore. Do not be great teachers. Do not strive to become great teachers, but instead ask from God to lead you through the Spirit of God to the whole truth and to reveal to you the things of the future. Only God, through Jesus, is able to lead the person to the whole truth and is able to reveal to him the things of the future. And now, Joseph, truly, as he is enlightened by God, says, the Lord showed you these things, these dreams, so that you may act with wisdom and understanding. The Lord spoke to you. He showed you why, so that you may act with wisdom and understanding. Is that it? The whole message is just that. That God showed you that the Lord has added you to His church. Why? He gave you from His Spirit and the Spirit of and rebirth. Why? Because He has placed in your heart to be baptized in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. Why? And the answer is so that you may walk accordingly to the will of God, so that you may be able to enjoy the rapture of the church. And that is for us. But it's not just that, as we're going to see further down in the next sermon. It's not just for me to enjoy the kingdom of God, but in the meantime, for me to be able to enjoy that perfect blessing of God under any circumstances. Choose a person that is wise and give him the ability to be able to command and take a fifth. It will be easy for them, since there will be abundance. It will be easy for them to give you a fifth. Give them away. Take them away so that you may have them in the time of the famine. And not only you will not be hungry, but you will also be blessed, and you have in abundance in the time of need. Now imagine what the amazement rather of Pharaoh. And now Joseph was made second to the king and a ruler of Egypt. What can anyone say? What can anyone truly say? Can these things happen? The answer is these things can happen, and much more than these God will do, as long as you are always with God. Not thinking that you are with God, thinking that God is speaking to you, that God is leading you, but for you to see it, to see the stretched out arm of God, powerful in your life, always, in every situation in your life. That is why. You consider it pure joy when you fall into temptations by God. Why? Because it is very easy and very important for us to know that this is a temptation of our faith. When you fall into certain temptation, what have I done? You may say to yourself, what have I done? And I was brought to this situation. Why? Because this is the explanation of your faith. This is the testing of your faith, and that trial that you're going through has to have a perfect work. That perfect work needs to remain. And then you will be also perfect, not lacking anything. Do you now understand who we're dealing with? We are talking about the God of Joseph. This is the God that we are talking about, we are dealing with. We don't have anything to do with a small Christ, a puny Christ, but we have to do with the Lord Almighty, the Lord of all powers. And unto Him and for Him nothing is impossible. What God will do in your life, no one will be able to understand, no one will be able to imagine, as long as you see the stretched out arm of God in your life from the beginning until the end. To be able to understand that God is with you. And how can you know with certainty that God is with you? Anything that you do, God will bless. You will be peaceful. You will be healthy in mind and spirit, just like Gaius. I am wishing you to be healthy in your life and in your heart, just like your soul is. How important is it, my dear brethren, for me to see in my life the powerful arm of God, His stretched out arm that would lead me, would take me high. How did you begin and what did you do next? But these are not the questions. These are not the important questions. The important questions are, what is God going to do with you in your life from now onwards? As long as you are sitting down here on this corner and you are not moving to the left or to the right, but you are sitting in the presence of God, you are not allowing your mind to think about all the things that you will go through today. You're not listening to words of people, but you are the friend of Christ. You are speaking with Him face to face, and you are struggling, you are fighting to not sin. Do you know how much would Joseph earn if he was a friend of the wife of Potiphar? Do you know how good would that be for his career? But the end will be eternal damnation. That's the end. But he remained faithful, immovable, faithful to God. How can I sin against God? How is it possible for me to sin against God? God is with me. Anything that I'm doing, God is blessing. In my personal life, I have good fruition, and my fruition remain. The fruition of the Spirit in my personal life. I have good fruition. In my professional life even. Anywhere. In my household life, I have fruition, and that the Lord is blessing it. But what is coming right after that is what you cannot imagine. I mean.